Welcome back to Indiana Newsdesk. Students will return to IU this fall. The university announced its reopening plans last week, which include a mix of in-person and online classes. Without a vaccine, the question is how to bring students back safely to protect the campus community and Bloomington residents. As Mitch Legan reports, the university is establishing rules that could include requiring students to sign a pledge to follow safe practices.
The coronavirus pandemic led to an abrupt end to in-person classes in March when IU sent students home. With in-person classes resuming this fall, both the university and city of Bloomington are planning for thousands of out-of-town students to return.
Generally, we are advising students to not come back until we begin instruction and they are here for classes.
IU Bloomington had more than 33,000 students enrolled in in-person classes this spring. Nearly 30,000 of them were from outside of Monroe County.
When you have many thousands of people returning from all over the country, that's going to be a source of risk. And we need to be ready for that and take it very seriously. And it's kind of like when your weather looks good right now, but the radar forecast says there seems to be a big front coming in, you got to be ready for it.
The mayor spent time speaking with leaders from other cities that are home to Big Ten universities, including Madison, Wisconsin, and Champaign-Urbana in Illinois.
Most of it is sharing things like, well, how do your public safety police departments work together on these issues? I know there's some email exchange with College Park, Maryland, for example, about how are you thinking about the boundaries of campus and behaviors on one side or the other? And it's complicated, and we're talking to IU about that.
IU junior Jack Romer never left Bloomington. His family decided it might be safer for him to stay in place than move back home, since his sister's job put her in contact with many people. But he says a lot of his friends are planning on coming back early after being stuck at home all semester.
I think that we're going to see, probably more and more people return to Bloomington, especially if they're from Chicago, New York, Philadelphia. There's those really where a lot of people that go to IU are from, and where it's probably more of the epicenter.
Bloomington's encouraging social distancing and recently launched a campaign to encourage people to wear masks. But there's no requirement. The university is still working on the details, but there's talk of a strict mask wearing policy and a required class on safe practices.
IU still is going to have to be calibrating what is the prevalence of the disease like in August, in September, in November, and that will necessarily drive some of the behavior and decisions that they take.
Another part of IU's plan for the upcoming session involves removing the fall break and shifting the final stretch of the semester after November 30th to online learning only. The same will be done with the spring semester, except classes leading up to February 7th will be strictly virtual.
And a lot more details are still to come, but simple things such as not having more than 50 in a classroom space, and that allows us in a large space, we can space people out enough so that will provide safe social distancing.
In addition to physically spreading out students, the university is adjusting the class schedule to create a longer passing period between classes so there won't be as many people walking around campus at the same time. IU's also making all of its residence hall rooms single occupancy.
This is going to be something where we truly are going to be relying on each other, and we're going to be asking students and faculty and staff to make a commitment to each other, because that's really how we're going to be able to do this in this forum and move through this particular time.
Still, both city and university officials stress there's only so much that can be done. When it comes down to it, slowing the spread of the coronavirus will be up to individuals to take the proper precautions and ensure everyone's safety this coming school year. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Mitch Legan.
And some IU student athletes will begin voluntary workouts this month. The football team is the first group scheduled to come back. Other sports will follow in July and August. Each student athlete will be required to go through a daily medical check before being cleared to participate in workouts. The university says it's working with the best doctors to establish protocols and make sure they are strictly followed.